Good evening. We're going to get started. My name is Scott Miller. I'm your host tonight. Welcome to Scott Middle School for Mayor's Night Out. It was a rough week for me last week, but I heard the voters loud and clear, and School City Hammond exists to serve the students and community of Hammond, and we will continue to do so, albeit 15 million a year thinner. So with that said, I'd like to introduce our 6th District Councilman, Scott Rakos, with the report. Welcome, Scott, please.
So that's Scott at Scott Middle School. So,
There we go.
all right. I just want to talk about some of the distribution of funds we had this year in a recent past. On overlays, we had Vine Street from Kennedy to Parrish. That was done with Community Development Funds, CIB funds. 169th from Kennedy to Parrish. The mayor and I did that together as a joint effort. 7600 block of Grand. 32 and 3300 163rd Street. Also the intersection of 177th Orchard Drive and New Hampshire. And 38, 3900 block 176th Place. About approximately 960 feet of sidewalk was replaced at about 20 locations throughout the 6th District. Crack and seal has begun in the 6th District in the last week or so. It doesn't look great, but it keeps the street from, when we get the winter, the thaw and the snow, it keeps it from getting big potholes is bad. So that's an important part of it too. Approximately $100,000 to Park Department. They removed 26 trees so far with another 12 to be done. We finished Frommer Park Playground. And we've designed and started Gibson Park. There will be a new playground coming in next spring. Also, I wanted to let everybody know holiday lights are going on the new light poles on Kennedy Avenue tonight. HC3 works with the city to help. HC3 has purchased most of these lights, so the city has helped us out. The city purchases the wreaths. They're going on the new light poles tonight on Kennedy Avenue. So. That's basically all I got, and thank you everybody for coming out.
Hi everybody, welcome to Mayor's Night Out. I appreciate Councilman Scott Rakos speaking to us. Congratulations on your re-election, Councilman. Appreciate Scott Miller, the other Scott, at Scott Middle School. Superintendent Scott, thanks for being here and introducing us and getting us kick-started, and then thanks for letting us use Scott Middle School. It's great to see you all here. Before we jump into the question, I want to point out we're going to jump into the issue over the bridge and what's going on with Governor's Parkway right off the bat. Okay, I'm going to introduce everybody first. Obviously, I think that's always a topic that we should address right away when we get here, and then we'll read off some of the questions, try to respond to them, and then we'll get into normal Mayor's Night. Okay, try not to get preoccupied with one topic. So we'll start off and introduce. Hi, Sharon. How's it going?
Good evening, Mayor. Fine. How are you?
Sharon Daniels. Hesvillian, and she lives in the 6th?
Yes.
Yeah, in the 6th, and she runs College Bound and Personnel.
Yes.
I introduced you.
Thank
All right,
you.
Well, go ahead.
Felix Gonzalez, Public Works.
Marty Wolgus, Hammond Sanitary District.
Jack Smith, Sewer Maintenance. Kelly Creed, Inspections Department.
Jim Talon, Park Department.
Megan Moore, City Controller.
Jeff Smith, Fire.
Chris Campbell, Information Technology.
Jeff Long, Police Department. Brian Poland, City Planning.
Deborah Malone, Environmental Management.
Phil Taylor, Chief of Staff.
Kevin Smith, Corporation Counsel.
Jaime Prieto, Water.
Mylan Krasinski, Port Authority.
Lavita Sparks Wade, United Neighborhoods.
Carmen Paniagua, Housing Authority.
Bob Vale, Building Department.
Dean Button, Engineering.
Ann Taylor, Planning and Development.
Juan Moreno, Economic Development.
Chris Sakalaris, Legal Aid.
Owana Miller, Community Development.
All right, I've been doing this lately when I go on the road. Out of everybody on the stage right now, if you are a resident of the 6th District, please raise your hand. All right, even some in the audience, I appreciate you. So I always try to show, whenever we hit the road, we have a lot of people in our administration that are your neighbors, and I think that's important to point out, because sometimes we take positions on issues that you're scratching your head, wondering what we're thinking, but we're your neighbors, and we're trying to do what's right for our neighborhood, for our city. So anyway, why don't we go ahead and, hi Eileen, how you doing?
Hi, Mayor. I'm good. How are you?
Eileen Ibarra, resident of the 6th District? Not yet.
Third district.
Third
Not
district.
yet.
Okay. I know, you're
Soon.
working on, she's working on moving to the 6th District, funny enough. But good to see you.
Nice to see you too, Mayor.
I know you said we had a few questions on one topic, so I figured we'd just go ahead and address that topic. And that's a few questions on the bridge, is that true?
Correct. Yes, quite a few.
So instead of going through each question one by one, when we get multiple questions on one topic, we usually just read them off, we get the gist, and then we try to do a presentation on that topic. So why don't you read off a couple of the questions, and then we'll get into, where we've been on this journey. It's been quite a journey.
What is the status of Governor Highway?
That's a good question, nice and open-ended. Governor's Highway, it's Governor's Parkway, first off. Hi, Dean, how's it going? City Engineer Dean Button, resident of the 1st District.
First District, yes.
Yeah, but your assistant city engineer is a resident of the 6th District. True?
Fifth.
Oh, is it? I'm sorry, I thought he was in the 6th.
He's as close to Hessville as you can get.
Yeah,
He's definitely in
He's more in
Hessville.
Hessville than I am.
He's, fifth.
Anyway, I was trying to show off, but
Yeah,
it
you
didn't
were.
work out, so let's move on.
Sorry to embarrass you, Mayor.
Do me a favor, could you sort of give us the 30,000-foot view of Governor's Parkway?
Sure. So since our public meeting we had in May, the consultant went back and looked at a couple additional items.
It's fair to say that we had pushback from the community, asking us to look further into the possibility of a tunnel. True?
True, which is really what the public comment was for.
And quite frankly, we're not driving the train on this. The train is being driven by NDOT, who's paying for a majority of this project.
True.
Okay.
Yeah.
So the contractor in this case, their name is.
So the consultant,
Okay.
the consultant that's doing the design is Crawford Murphy and Tilly.
Okay.
They're the consultant that's working directly for NDOT. Hammond's position is a basically 20% match, which is a lot of our federal money projects.
So we're the customer, but really the customer is NDOT.
Customers NDOT.
But
the
they're
design
listening to
engineer,
us. They work with us, but at the end of the day, NDOT's paying the bills.
they're paying the consultant 100% of the consultant's bills.
Right.
Right.
Okay.
And so when we met in May, the results of the community feedback were to take a look at a couple more options. One had to do with related studies. There was an additional request for wetlands inventory to be done. That report has been submitted to the agencies for review and comment still, so we're waiting to hear back from NDOT on that, but everything looks pretty favorable. The minimal amount of impact on wetlands we have that we didn't expect to have will be mitigated through Wetlands Bank, which is typical, common, customary.
There's
way of doing that.
one of the options that was being asked of us is, why didn't we look into a tunnel on Parrish? Because this is, to be fair, it's not along Parrish. It's going to be, south to east. It's northeast.
Sort of runs through the wooded area,
Right.
right? The current unused property
True.
owned by the.
And going that direction is going to minimize the number of homes that have to be taken for a project like that, right?
Two homes we're taking.
Whereas if we went along Parrish, there's a lot of homes along Parrish, and there's a lot of neighborhoods along Parrish that would be cut off if we had a tunnel. True?
Very true. All of the apartment buildings and homes that are along the east side of Parrish would now no longer have access to Parrish. Any of those at Front Parrish would be taken, and those that were on the west side would certainly lose access to Parrish.
So
as well.
basically, and so right now, is it fair to say that the NDOT's contractor is looking into the option as opposed to a bridge? Because we know a bridge is going to cost around $15 million. Is that the cost?
Actually, quite a bit more, Mayor.
Is it?
Quite a bit more.
How much?
About 30 million.
The bridge.
I'm sorry. I'm sorry. I thought, yeah.
No, the
I beg your
bridge.
pardon. The construction cost for the bridge is a $10 million project, with fees, consultant fees, about $14 million. all
Okay,
in.
14.
14 all in. Yes,
And you're saying the tunnel would be more like,
30 million.
and a lot more
twice
takings,
as much.
and the impact to the neighbors, the literal takings of properties to be able to accomplish that is much higher than would be needed for the bridge.
Yeah, 10
So-
times more.
Okay, I appreciate that. So, but that's something that if the state comes along and says, hey, we'll pay twice as much, we want to build a tunnel instead, I would be open to it if the state's paying the bill, but that's going to have a major impact on Hessville.
But the
because
state-
Hessville, we would have to take.
22 homes would be taken.
Think about it. Listen, this is not an option right now. I don't want anybody to get fired up, and we're going to come to you, okay? Hold on. Yeah. Yes. But first off, okay. Right now, we're not in charge of this project. Okay, NDOT's contractors. Baker or Tilly?
No, sir, Crawford, Murphy, and Tilly,
Okay.
CMT. Yeah.
No, it's not. No. See, what happened is the newspaper did a story today, and I think they're trying to confuse the issue, which is fine. That's their prerogative, okay? The fact is, the state's paying the bill. I imagine the state doesn't want to pay twice as much. I imagine they try to accomplish the goal, which is to stop the railroad crossing problem we have at the lowest price possible. But if they come along and say, we'll build the tunnel, I would be shocked. But we would have to come back and talk to you all if that happened. I just don't see it happening, quite frankly. Do you?
I do not see it happening. It's not the preferred alternative.
But
and it's
they're
certainly-
looking into it.
They're evaluating it based on community feedback.
So that they could go back to the community and say, listen, we looked at this, it's twice as much, and it has way more of an impact on the community. So the question is this, really, in my mind, is, are we still committed to this project? And I want to tell you how it works in public policy, the way I see the world, okay? This is an election year. We literally just got done with an election. Everybody that was part of this project, I'm a big advocate. I think this is the solution for Hessville. I hear people, but the trains aren't stopping now. Now, they're not stopping. Now. 5-6 months from now, we could be facing the same problem. If we walk away from this money, this project is dead. Don't believe what you hear. We'll just shift it over here. Bull crap. You're not going to shift it anywhere. It's dead. Dead for 10 years at least, if we walk away from this money. They're not telling you that. That's fine, though. If we say no to this project, the state's not going to pay for anything. We're still going to be waiting for stop trains. All right? Everybody that supported this project, the mayor, the 5th District Councilman, Dave Warple, who just got done getting reelected, the 6th District Councilman, Councilman Rakos, who just got done in a contested race getting reelected, and myself, I was lucky enough to not be contested. We all got through the election together. Usually if you're messing up, this is how politics works. If I'm making a horrible error and I go into election year, usually the voters let you know. The voters say, wrong, Mayor. You're making a mistake. I'm not voting for you. Wrong, Councilman. You're making a mistake. I'm not voting for you. And then I'm out of a job. And I'm like, damn, I should have done that bridge, right? That's how it works. We all got elected. I didn't even have an opponent. I personally feel this is the right move. I personally do. I live fairly close. It took me 5 minutes to get here because of the traffic on 73rd. I apologize. But we all won. In fact, one of the people that's pushing the tunnel lost. He ran and lost. I'm all systems go. The preferred alternative is the bridge. I believe this is the answer. Now, during this debate, another thing happens there. ProPublica, they were here a year ago when we were all in this room. We had national reporters in here. Little did we know they would cause an uproar across the country. It was in this room it started, if you guys remember. ProPublica was sitting right over there. They did a story showing kids come to Scott Middle School going across train tracks, and it caused a national outrage. Hammond, Indiana. Started right here, guys. At Mayor's Night Out. ProPublica was in here. And that changed everything. Now, there's a separate proposal, separate and apart from Governor's Parkway, to build a pedestrian bridge to get kids over the railroad tracks to get here. Literally, a bridge for this school. And it's not going to be paid for a penny by us. And it's as a result of those reporters that were in here. They caused an outrage. And I think it's needed because kids, when we have stop trains, are tempted to go across those stop trains to get to this school. So that's sort of an update of where we left. I apologize if I got fired up, and I'm not fired up at anybody. I'm not, okay? I'm not, and I apologize if I came off aggressive.
My house, there's actually 4 houses that are affected by the thing. Okay?
By the Governor's Parkway.
Yes.
So you're back
my
in the.
house is the 4th one.
Yes, sir. And I know there was a former Hammond police officer who's a great person who's also affected by this. I love him. The Hammond Police Department loves him. It's horrifying that, unfortunately, in my job, sometimes to move forward, you affect people that you know personally. And I had another part of the city where we did something similar. A dear friend of mine worked in my office. We took her house to move forward on the Gateway project. And by the way, she moved to the 6th district, so it turned out good for you all. But it sucks when that happens, sir. It does. But, and I apologize. I don't know what to say. Yeah. Oh, I'm sorry, for the bridge? Yeah.
Mayor.
Dean?
Construction, we expect the bid to happen late next year, around November, December, where the bid will be accepted by NDOT. And then we would expect construction to start in the spring of next year, take 2 construction seasons to build.
Right over here, Mayor.
Okay, I want to say one more thing real quick, and I appreciate you. Thanks for being here. And then, by the way, I'm talking a lot about Ken when I'm talking about this. I like Ken. I'm glad Ken lives in Hammond. He's a pain in my butt on this issue, but we need guys like him and his group. They're doing a good thing for Hammond. It sucks for me right now because I'm trying to defend something. Quite frankly, I love trees. I love natural areas. Anybody that knows me, every summer I'm in the middle of a bunch of trees cycling on my bike. So this sucks to be the mayor having to do this. And I appreciate this group because Hammond's better off because we have groups like this. So I don't want anybody to think I'm mad at Ken or I'm mad at the group. I'm not. Okay? Hi.
So you were just talking about the 22 homes for the underpass that you guys, underpass alternative, but you had said on Parish Avenue?
Yeah.
And we were more talking about an underpass on Grand.
I think if they're looking at the underpass, it's along Parrot.
No, sir. It is in fact on Grand.
Oh, on Grand.
It is in fact on
interesting.
Grand.
Okay.
The original alternatives analysis did include a tunnel at Parish, but not all of the costs were included in that.
Oh, okay.
On that particular alternative.
I thought it was Grand. I thought it was Parish.
Yeah, we did originally evaluate Parish, but the feedback from the community was we need a tunnel at Grand, and so that's specifically what
So that's the one
Crawford
you're looking at.
Murphy
That's the
and
one that
Tillman looked
affects
at.
those. Okay.
22 homes,
Good point.
right, and an isolation of
Grand.
Grand, yes, sir, Grand.
Thanks.
With the what was it, the public hearing, they had said the overpass on Grand would take 9 homes, but then the underpass is taking 22. And I know the track's already elevated like 4 feet. I mean, do you
The
know?
preferred alternative doesn't take 9 homes. Preferred alternative takes.
No. If that, not the, sorry, if they did an overpass on Grand, that was one of the options they had laid out.
I don't believe they're looking at
No, there was not an alternative for an overpass at Grand. There was an overpass and an underpass at Parish in the original alternatives
And
analysis.
they're looking at it. I imagine if they found an alternative that we haven't thought about, maybe there's some other great alternative that none of us have thought about. If they found it and it was cheaper than what we're talking about, I guarantee you they'd bring it to us. I guarantee you. They don't want to, if they could save $5 million, they're going to save $5 million. But they've committed to this project. And if they come back and say, hey, we like the tunnel on Grand better, we're going to come back and talk to you. And we're going to have to analyze the impact. But I'd be shocked if they did, personally. And from what it sounds like, Dean would be shocked as well.
Yes.
But who knows? Maybe they will.
Would you entertain another public hearing?
If they came back with a tunnel, I would have to. No doubt about it. We would have to. We'd have a lot of analyzing to do. Because if they did say they wanted to do a tunnel on Grand, which I would be shocked, but if they did, it would impact the community and it would involve taking a property, and we would definitely want to talk to the community about it. Right.
Yeah, it would be required as part of the
Yeah.
National Environmental Policy Act process, the NEPA process, would be to evaluate that alternative and then have a public hearing on that specific location.
Did we miss anything on this? Because I know it's been a while. I want to remind everybody in this room, we did 2 surveys of people that had lived in what we determined was an affected area. That turned out to be controversial, that we didn't send it to every resident of Hammond, but we came up with a boundary area that we thought was fair, and we sent it to everybody in that boundary area, and we took a survey of the people in that boundary area, and we pointed out as well as we could that it was going to involve the taking of hundreds of trees if we go along with this, and 2/3 of Hessville residents came back and said, we realized all these things and we want you to do it. Okay? And then we were criticized because we worded it wrong. And then we were criticized because we sent it to the wrong people. And I didn't get some, and We're trying to do everything we can to be as transparent as possible to fix a problem that's been in this community for over 100 years. And if we ignore this free money, it's still going to be here. And then you could go talk to the people that are trying to derail this, because this is free money and it's going to solve our problem. So,
And for the record, Mayor, the 2 full property takes on the Governor's Parkway Bridge project and 2 partial takes. So we're only taking 2 physical residences. So I wanted to clarify the gentleman's comment,
Yeah.
right?
and I do want to
True.
point that out, sir. Your backyard is affected, and it's no doubt about it. And like I said, yes, sir, no doubt about it. And I think there should be some compensation personally for that. Just like you have a neighbor that's a Hammond Police Officer that we all know very well, and I know he probably didn't vote for me, and I know he probably didn't vote for his council people because he's mad about this. And I get it. It's your property, sir. I get it. Okay? I don't think it's,
Love to run in the
Yes, sir.
woods. Yeah, and
it was going.
place
sir.
for dogs,
Yes, sir.
but that's about it.
I like dogs too. I have 2 labs also.
You know, so.
Thank you.
You know, they ain't gonna have no place to play, but, oh well.
I'm sorry. Like I said, I had to take a good friend of mine's house because we built it was a $800 million expansion of a South Shore line. It literally went right through their property, and I'm sure she was upset with me, and she knows me very well. And it stinks, sir. I'm sorry. Yes, sir. Yes.
You know where they're going to put the pedestrian bridge? Is it going to be like off 173rd here? Because it's
Yeah.
like between here and the apartment buildings.
Yeah.
Those are the 2 places where the kids
Yeah.
are always jumping trains. And regardless of this overpass or whatever,
Mhm. That's
that
a whole
would have
separate
never
project.
solved the problem of the kids jumping the trains.
Well,
It just
the
never
pedestrian
would've.
bridge would if we put it in the right place. And the problem with the pedestrian bridge is it would involve taking of real estate as well. But not a lot, but it would involve taking. And we're trying to minimize the impact as well on that. But that's another free project. It's literally, we convinced Norfolk Southern that it was a good idea to pay for this bridge, and I have to say, I talked to the CEO.
That's what it was sold as. It's like will like relieve this problem, and traffic-wise, yeah, it would relieve traffic problems,
Which
but it
pro-
won't
which bridge are you
relieve the
talking about?
problems of the kids jumping trains.
You're talking about Governor's Parkway now? You can't go back and forth. Yeah, Governor's Parkway, I agree with you. It's not going to solve the problem of kids coming to Scott Middle School by foot. I'll give you
That's
that.
how it was sold.
No,
that
it was,
it would cut down on
well,
that.
maybe naively, but I agree with you. Realistically, it's not, okay? However, the bridge that Norfolk Southern wants to pay for will. It's like a bike trail bridge, basically, and it would go right over the top of the train.
Long needed.
Oh, I agree. And I found a source to pay for it. And that's separate and distinct from Governor's Parkway. And, I had it referred to in the paper today as 2 albatrosses, okay? I mean, I'm sure some people feel that way. But I look at these 2 albatrosses as infrastructure that's going to get us over stop trains. Call it albatross. I built a curb in the 4th district that saved a neighborhood. It was a curb. They called it a wall. Okay, whatever. You call it a wall, I call it a curb. All right? If you want to call it albatross, God bless. But if that albatross gets us over these damn stop trains, we win. Hessville moves when the trains are stopped. It doesn't right now. Okay, yes, it does. I guess I'm in the wrong city. All right. Questions? Any other questions on this? Hi. How you doing?
I could be better.
I'm sorry.
Yeah, I was working a poll, and I encountered several people who were upset that there was no decent opponent to the mayor.
You should have
And-
run.
That's right. What?
You could have run.
Right.
You got anything
So-
pleasant to talk about, or you just want to?
I don't think so, as long as you're mayor.
Okay,
But what
good.
my
Let's move on.
question is what-
Listen, I'm not taking your personal insults. Go away. Like, seriously, I'm not going to sit here and get insulted by you. I don't need that. So let's move on.
What are you doing to cultivate young people to get active in this government of this city? What are you doing to cultivate someone who might like to run for city council or replace you
All right, thank you, ma'am. Nice talking to you. All right, we were talking about the bridges, so do we have any questions on bridges? Hi. Hi.
Hi. I just have a question about the construction on Summer Street in Columbia. I'm not sure if that's related to the topic.
Sure, we'll go ahead and do it.
Okay. Well, I'm just like wondering.
Construction on Summer and Columbia.
Yeah.
Good. It's about engineering stuff, and Dean's got the microphone, so good job.
Okay. No, I'm just wondering because I was just curious because I live on Summer Street, and yeah, but I was just wondering, like, what is the work specifically happening there, and how long will it take?
Good question. Dean?
Sure. Well, the current work is we have a closure of Summer and Columbia right now. It's been aggravation to everyone, including those of us at this table. It was supposed to be about 2 months. We're hoping to get that open by the end of this month now. So we're a little bit delayed. A lot of that had to do with some utility relocation problems we had.
That's a total rebuild, right?
100% reconstruction of Summer between Columbia and Hump Road, and then a small section near the boulevard. It's a $14 million project paid.
So it's the whole street, like all of Summer, like towards Indianapolis too?
Yeah, except for that concrete section that's between Hump Road and 400 feet west of the boulevard. Yeah, but that approach at the boulevard, the Summer Street approach from the west is going to be redone, and then all the way to Columbia Avenue. So that's
It'll
a
be a lot
two-year
better. It's
project.
painful right now, ma'am. It's painful. We apologize, but
I know, because, yeah.
you're going to have brand new infrastructure.
It was a whole situation only because where I live specifically, there was construction happening and they busted open a water pipe, and that's what they had to come into my house, and they were like, oh, we have to like replace this. And I'm just like, okay, I don't know why, but and then it was like leaking for like 2 days, and I was like curious. I'm like, what happened? It was like
Yeah, there was a problem with the shutdown. When we tried to isolate that large 36-inch water main, there was a problem. We couldn't get it to stop leaking, and eventually the water department, thank you to Jaime and Mark and Bruce, who helped us get that settled. They put paving down over the last couple days, and they want to try to get surface down before the holiday. We're working as hard as we can. There's a concrete slab that's sort of holding us up, but Columbia should open certainly by the end of the month. But this project is it'll be all the way through next season that this project's going to continue.
Okay, well that's good. Yeah, because Summer Street was having like a lot of potholes over the years.
And the benefit too helps the area on Sherman Street that's experienced a lot of flooding over the last few years.
Yeah,
and that's a sort of a first phase to get into some stormwater separation on Sherman and
Is
Summer.
Columbia in like the plans to get reconstructed too, or no?
Yeah, that's a little bit harder. We've got a
All right, I'm
federal.
going to have you guys continue your conversation
Yeah,
after.
sure.
if
Thanks,
you don't
Mayor.
mind.
We can talk
all right.
after.
Thank you, guys. Yeah, thanks. All right, we'll go ahead and we got questions. Oh, I don't want to move on from the topic if we're not done with it yet. Are we done with the topic on Governor's Parkway?
No, one last
Okay,
question.
Sure. Hi.
Okay. I've got a question.
Sure.
Why not just build a simple underpass? You see them here and there all over the county, all over the country. That might be the solution. I don't want to see anything happen to these wetlands. These wetlands are very vital to our community. Now they keep our air nice and clean. They're like a big sponge, and they're absorbing a lot of the rainwater. Just one block down from me, and I'm on California right off 169th. Just one block down from me, the people get water in their basements when it rains. I'm higher up. I'm right off 169th. So I don't get any water in my basement. But I can see it going down California like it's a California river, okay? But these wetlands are absorbing a lot of that water. We take any of that away, and we're gonna have more flooding in Hessville. And that is not good for anybody at all. I think a very simple underpass might be a solution. Look what Munster did. I know they reconfigured 45th and everything else, but I'm sure that one section of bridge where it goes under the tracks did not cost $30 million.
I think it was like $40 or $50 million, wasn't it?
It was
Munster.
envisioned at 45 million, but that included.
We're talking about the Munster Bridge.
Right. It was envisioned at 45 million, which included an underpass at Calumet Avenue, which they scrapped.
Right.
It was a $25 million project pre-COVID.
And then it turned into a $45 million project?
No, it was a $25 million project.
Okay.
Yeah, $25 million underpass. The estimate for our underpass at Grand Avenue is a single lane in each direction, which is not as elaborate as what's going on in Munster. The projection of cost, construction cost only, is $30 million for an underpass.
What about a simple one, like she said? Like a
She-
simple, just a simple underpass.
No, it's not that simple. Part of the issue is they have to move the railroad over to construct a railroad. They call it a shoe fly, where they build the tracks at design speed, construct the tunnel, and then move the tracks back and scrap all that brand new track that they put in. That's $3 million right there. Just to
But
do
like,
that.
they are gonna look at these, I imagine, though, because they are gonna look at the cost.
Yep.
Oh, okay. Well, all right.
Yep, we looked at the cost. It's too expensive.
All right. Any other? Hi, Ken.
Hi. Okay. Hi, Mayor. One of the things that I wanted to ask, first I wanted to point out that there were 4 different options at the INDOC public hearing. 4 different options. One, I believe, was the Kennedy Avenue, which was kind of, nobody ever considered that. They also brought up Grand Avenue, and they also brought up 173rd Street, and here. Nobody was talking about a bridge or an underpass, or you guys call it a tunnel now. I'm sure that's a great adjective for you. But nobody was talking about doing it at Parish, because what we're trying to do, what we are trying to suggest is, this way you solve the problem with all the kids walking to and from 3 separate schools, okay, over on Grand Avenue. Now, in the, on the Grand Avenue construction solution, it was $8,480,000, okay? $8,480,000, and 9 homes.
So you
9
did the
homes.
research yourself?
How it got to, this was off of the INDOT public hearing.
Okay.
Okay, and you can look them up. We have the paperwork. You guys handed it out to us also.
All right,
okay?
Dean, what do you have to say about that? He says you're lying.
I know we didn't evaluate Grand, right? That's why we're doing the Grand Avenue evaluation now. We evaluated an overpass and an underpass at Parish Avenue.
Right.
We evaluated an overpass at 173rd. As Mr. Rosick said, we did also evaluate a grade separation project at Kennedy and 169th.
All right.
So 100%
Listen,
infeasible.
I'll be honest with you. I'm not going to relitigate this, Ken. We just did. It's called an election. It is. We just had an election. And you ran on this and you lost, Ken. Like, it's like you're trying to like run for office again, and I'm done with it, honestly. I know. Yeah, ask it. What's the question?
Well, he came up with a figure of 10 million.
Hold
also,
it, hold
but
it.
at the end
Who
of
came up with this?
The
We're
INDOT
not
public
doing it.
hearing
Listen,
exposed that. It was
Ken,
INDOT public hearing.
Listen,
They sent out
Ken,
all the documents.
all due respect, we're done with this. There's people here from Mayor's Night Out, not Ken's Night
The
Out.
INDOT public hearing
Okay.
said $10 million.
All right,
Where he's coming up with $30 million
right. Thanks. Listen. Okay. Ken, we're not doing this ourselves. Oh, okay. All right. You're in a school. It's Mayor's Night Out, Ken. It's Mayor's Night Out. People don't scream in town halls, Ken. Shut up, Ken. Seriously. Sit down. You're at Mayor's Night.
Then you know what? This is a political rally, and it should not be held in a public area.
This is a political rally now. I've been doing Mayor's Night Out longer than you lived in Hammond, dude. All right, sit down, Ken. Seriously. All right, thank you. All right. Anybody else have a question about Governor's Parkway? I just ran on this issue and won. I'm willing to take the heat for it. I'm doing this bridge. We're going with the preferred alternative. If INDOT wants to pay for it, I'm going to sign the paperwork and we're going to move forward. All right? Good. Okay. All right. Hi.
Is Kennedy Avenue ever going to get done?
Good question.
Paving went down, striping went down. We have some landscaping work to do. It should be by Thanksgiving. It'll definitely by the end of the month.
And Kennedy will be done when we're done with that one.
Done.
Yeah, that's the good news on that one. Downtown Hammond,
Yes, ma'am.
we got to go back for round 2 next year. So that's a good thing about Kennedy. So, all right, let's move into questions. Because I'll be honest, I don't know what, Councilman, you got anything you want to say about Governor's Parkway?
No, I do not.
Seriously?
Looking forward to seeing it.
Good. All right, let's go.
There
Oh,
was
hi,
a
ma'am. Is this about Governor's Parkway? Okay.
Why is that project taking so long? The people of Hessville are very concerned about why it's taking so long.
Okay.
Now, there are,
All right. Can we-
I have opinions to myself, and I'm sure many people here will agree with me, but I'm not going to go into that part of it. But why is it taking so long?
All right.
And I think politics has something to do with it. Thank you.
Okay. All right.
The end of
Hold on. Does politics have to do with this?
No, sir, I don't. This is a utility coordination problem we're having with our
Is there
power
somebody
company.
screwing us, or are we getting screwed with by somebody that I don't realize? Because I'm usually pretty wise about what's going on in politics.
No, sir.
Are you?
Nothing's
You
screwed.
sure? Like, why is it taking so long then?
It's taking a long time because our partners at NIPSCO at the end of last summer decided that they were going to replace a pole line along the west side of Kennedy Avenue, and basically we couldn't work in the same area at the same time. So it did require us to winter over. Then we had some additional issues relative to NIPSCO related to some power service connections, and so I don't mean to be blaming NIPSCO, but it had a big effect on the completion of this project. It will be completed by Thanksgiving, Mayor. This Thanksgiving.
All right. Let's go ahead to questions.
Is the city planning to put the red traffic signs that state no through trucks strictly prohibited at 169th Street going north and 165th Street going south?
We could. We put those everywhere. And we put them in obvious places where truckers will see them. Felix, when we did this project, how many of those did we purchase? Or did you create?
We purchased probably a couple thousand of between the fluorescent truck routes and then the no through truck route with the fines. We are planning on doing that. We're still have some hot spots to hit. We're not done with the project yet.
Could you forward that to Felix? And Felix, could you follow in the constituents' advice on that? They're easy for us to put up, and we want to put them up because when those signs are everywhere, when the police officer pulls them over, they could just point to the sign and say, it's right here. And we're strict on that. We're getting killed by trucks. If you had to ask me what causes all the trucks that want to go through this, because I've been mayor a long time, I have the gift of being a mayor a long time, and what I've seen over the years is traffic's changed, and the day it happened was the day they shut down Klein Avenue Bridge. And people said, but it's open now, but it costs a trucker $6 to go each way. They're not going to go that way. They're going to drive through our city instead. They're going to drive through our neighborhoods instead. And I'm constantly talking to the Hammond Police Department about this issue. Constantly. We put those signs up all over the city because we hate them just like you do. And we're strict on it. And if you see places where this happens a lot, come talk to one of our Hammond police officers, and we'll go out there and pay attention. Jeff? All right. Hey, how's it going, Chief? Could you grab a microphone? Yes. How often do we talk about this issue? We have a meeting with police brass once every 2 weeks, and we're constantly, right?
Yes, and the reason we put the signage up is one of the problems we were having is we would write truck tickets, it would go to court, and the truck driver's excuse would often be that there was no signage up. So that's the reason we got ahead of that and started putting signs up, so there's no longer that argument.
Thank you. So thank you for the recommendation. We'll forward that to Felix, and we'll get on it ASAP.
Mayor, along with that question, there is quite a few other residents that have concerns regarding truck traffic on Kennedy Avenue.
Yeah? Yep. I mean, are they on Kennedy, Felix? Those signs?
I believe they are. They're
It's gonna be, it's gonna be real tight once Kennedy's open
Yeah.
for them to be driving semis through Kennedy.
Yeah.
It's gonna be real tight. So they gotta know, yeah, Kennedy all together. So, yeah. Truck traffic is brutal. Like I said, I mean, you could argue with me all day if you have a better theory than I do, but I grew up on Indianapolis Boulevard, same block, same house where I live right now. I used to cross Indianapolis Boulevard as a kid any day of the week, and I'd go get ice cream. I'd be able to walk all over the boulevard. The boulevard is full of semis now, and they're going fast. It's completely changed. In my lifetime, it's really changed in the last 20 years, and I think the root cause of it is Klein Avenue Bridge. And it's a travesty what they did to Northwest Indiana when they shut that bridge down. Yes, sir. Hi.
Hey, Mayor, how you doing?
Good, sir.
This is with the same question.
Sure.
I live off of 141st and Holman.
Okay.
All right. So truck route is 131st to Sheffield South.
Yes, sir.
And I understand that Sheffield is closed down with the construction there with the
South Shore.
South Shore and
Yes, sir.
everything. So when that construction is done, is this stuff going to be enforced? Because we have trucks going from Sheffield all the way to Calumet Avenue using their engine brakes through the neighborhood.
Yes, sir.
And then from
This is a great question.
Beamster Bore,
Yes, sir.
okay, all the way south to Chicago Avenue or to Goslin, flying down.
So let me ask, I'm going to ask the chief, okay? So your question is, right now, you sort of sympathize because everything, the
It's
traffic.
all messed up, and I understand. they
But
have to
once we
use
get
their
back to
routes.
normal traffic
But,
patterns.
Yeah, traffic pattern. And
The
then-
truck route's going to go back to the way it was.
Real
Right?
truck routes.
You agree with that, chief?
Yes, and going back to what the mayor said earlier, there's nobody in this room that cares more or talks about truck traffic more than he does. And I can promise you, that's the problem right now. There's so much construction going on all around us. I don't want to give excuses to some truck drivers, but they really don't know where they're supposed to go.
I agree with you,
We do
Joe.
as best a job we can to put detours up. But
You
I
see
prom-
sometimes they're flat lost.
Oh, 100%.
Yeah.
And I can tell when we pull them over, but I can tell you as soon as that's all done, we will absolutely enforce that. I promise you.
And that, Engineer Dean, you've been popular today. That's a
Sir.
good question the guy asked. I mean, he's being sympathetic, it sounds like, but he wants to make sure that when we get back to regular business, the heavy truck route is being enforced.
100%. The contractor from NICD has said that they'll have Sheffield reopened by the end of the day Monday. And so we can start going back to normal traffic in that area and enforcing through truck routes in that location.
Thanks, Dean.
You're welcome.
All right, we're moving. Cooking with fire.
Any plans for ornamental lighting and street reconstruction on the 6400 block of Kennedy?
Good question. We,
Yes.
really? Good.
Yes.
Usually I'm ready to say no. I'm glad to hear you
Yes.
say yes. Okay, go ahead and answer.
City applied for $4 million to NERC and received funding. That project bids in the middle of next year.
Dang.
And that is from 164th Place north to the Indiana Toll Road. It also
That's like
has
the-
a sister partner project with county to replace the IHB bridge north of the transfer road.
I was about to go into the whole story about how we don't have as much money as we used to and how it's hard to
That's
maintain all
true.
the roads, and you had that one ready to go.
It's true.
Good job. All right.
Hi, Mayor.
Hi.
It was actually Kentucky Avenue, 6400
Right.
block
Can we
of
strike
Kentucky
that whole thing,
Avenue.
and then I'm going to go into this story about how money doesn't go as far as it used to, and 6400 block of Kentucky.
Yes.
Yeah. Okay, so in situations like this, I think if I were a constituent and I was worried like that, you got to get your council person on your side. That's an important ally to have in this process. And then what happens is, I can tell you, your councilmen go to the capital improvement board meetings all the time because I see their name on the minute forms, and they argue before the capital improvement board, which is consisted of members like Dean and the city controller and other council people, and they make tough decisions. They try to prioritize which projects make the most sense to do, and then they have the money to do it, and it's all pooled there. All right, but the capital improvement board was a good thing. I wish we'd been doing it all along like that in Hammond, because I think our city would be a lot better off than we are right now, but we're doing it. It's well-intentioned. It's completely free of politics, despite how some people may feel about it. And so if I were living on the 6400 block of Kentucky, and this was my question, I would definitely get my council person on my team, and then make sure your council person's advocating for you with the capital improvement board. Showing up to Mayor's Night Out and talking to the engineer doesn't hurt either, by the way. Squeaky wheel gets the grease. I say this so often during Mayor's Night Out, and it's true. And, you know, people follow my advice, and that's part of the process. So, yes, hi, ma'am. Yes, ma'am.
I brought up this question about a year ago, and
Sure.
I wanted to know why between Grand and Parish on 169th, on the north side, why there's ornamental lightings on both sides of the street, but when you come on the south side of 169th where the schools are at, it's dark.
Good
Even
question.
on Grand Avenue, there's lights on one side of the street. and
Usually
where
this
all the
is,
schools
it's
are at.
because of projects that were done, and that's where the project ended, I can tell you. And a lot of people feel slighted because they're one block to the north or to the south of where it is, and it's as simple as that. It's, the project ended there, and I'm sure the council person, or, you know, if it was our office that did it, had all the intentions on completing that project from that block and moving forward, but That's the answer. It's one project to the next. Yeah, I agree. Okay. All right.
The 3300 block of 165th has a woman living in her van in the driveway of their residence. She uses the restroom on the side of the home as well as at the old fire station.
That's against
Can
the
this
ordinance.
issue be addressed?
Yes. We need that address. Let's don't talk about
I
addresses.
have an exact address.
Yeah,
I will get
good.
it forwarded to you.
It'll be taken care of.
Yeah, that's against city ordinance, for sure. I saw something similar to that in another part of the city, RV in the front yard. I'm trying to remember where it was, though.
There's a home on the 400 block of Highland Street that looks to be doing some illegal activity. I have an exact address as well that I can share.
I think you guys understand why sometimes we don't want to get in particular addresses. Especially if you're doing a crime tip or something like that, we won't read your name off we're on Go Hammond TV right now. You know, this is seen by dozens and dozens of people, so we don't want anybody to get your information, or sometimes people make allegations that don't turn out to be true, right, Chief?
Absolutely.
So we don't want to say, hey, people 123 473rd Street are selling crack. And then we find out that's not the case, and it's on Go Hammond TV. So we try to be discreet when it comes to specific addresses. That's what my corporate counsel tells me, right, Kevin? All right.
Same resident also has a concern regarding a vacant building.
Good. We take all crime tips. We take all tips very seriously. Nick, code enforcement, how you doing? Nick, how often do you get everything you do is totally anonymous, right?
Unless somebody requests a call back, and then we don't even ask for their return phone number or name. We take the complaint. We have 311. You can report complaints anonymously on there as well.
Could you explain what that is? 311.
It's basically an application you can download on your phone. You can, if you see a violation occurring at a property address, you can take a photo of it. It'll geolocate your current location to tag the address where you're at, and then it gets reported and sent to the city. It then gets divvied out to different departments of who would be responsible for addressing that complaint. So we have 6 district inspectors. Each inspector logs on every day, grabs the complaints that were filed in their district, and then they accumulate them towards the end of the week and go check them to verify them and take the appropriate action to bring them into compliance.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Felix, at Public Works, if somebody puts in a 311 issue, say I have a big item somebody just dropped in front of my house, and I put it in 311, how quick does it come to your office?
Instantly.
Instantly. So if I did it tonight, you'd literally see it tomorrow morning when you got to work.
Yes, and we have, just like we have district trucks, payloaders, sweepers, we actually have 2 trucks assigned to 311 for brush pickup or large item junk pickup.
We're telling you how to go right to the front of the line, everybody. And there's some people that still do it, by calling the office. God bless. You have every right to do that. But think about it. If it's something you wanted to done right away, and you're like, I'm going to call the mayor's office, and sometimes the message doesn't get to me right away, and it's just sort of sitting there before it's being responded to, when you could have just done it on 311, it would go right to Felix. And he would wake up at 4:30 in the morning like they always do, and he'd be like, look at that. There's a large item I have to pick up on 173rd Street. So we're trying to give you advice on how to go right to the front of the line. And literally, Chris, where are you? How many thousands of people do this through, how many issues have we closed since we started this process?
Oh my God, well, 1,000 a month.
1,000 a month?
Yeah.
And we've been doing it for years.
For years, yeah.
So what, 30, 40,000 issues we've closed out?
At least. Yeah, I don't know the actual number, but it's a lot.
And we've incorporated crime tips into that too, right, Chief? Crime tips, totally anonymous, but if you want to be high tech about turning in your neighbor that's selling drugs, do it through that. Totally anonymous. Goes right to the chief. So we're trying to give you advice on that. So, hi.
On the same topic, Mayor, there is a concern regarding a neighbor who called code enforcement over 6 weeks ago to report their neighbor had not cut their grass, and it still has not been addressed.
Okay, so I'm going to, Nick, grab the microphone. But this is a process that sometimes people aren't aware of, that people, let's say with all the best of intentions, your neighbor has grass that's super high, and I'm getting complaints from you. And I have a park department with big tractors. I'm like, you know what? I'm just going to help out this neighbor. I'm just going to swing the park department through and just mow that lawn real quick, right? It's a federal crime. I could go to jail for doing that. So, but yet, when your neighbor's lawn does grow, we do go out there with a cut and clean process. How can we do that legally? The way we do it legally is when you turn in your neighbor and we verify that it needs to be cut and clean, we have to go to court and get a court order that says, go ahead, City of Hammond, you can go ahead and cut that neighbor's property. And usually they give us an order for the rest of the season. So we don't have to go back each time we want to cut the lawn. We get like a blanket order. Kevin, am I fairly accurate on this?
Yeah, Mayor, just one little twist on that, and that is that that was kind of one of the older ways we did it, because that kind of took too long, and you challenged us to kind of improve the timing on that.
Yeah.
Because I think, if I remember right, you said, why should the person that's not obeying the city ordinance gets 60 free days of not having to cut their lawn, and the person who's cutting their lawn every day have to wait for that? We
True
want to
story.
protect the neighbors that are, cutting their lawn and keeping care of their property. And so now there's a 10-day green notice that gets stuck on. I think it's green, right, Nick?
No, it's a pink notice.
Sorry,
yeah.
pink. Thank you. 10-day neon pink notice that goes on that gives them 10 days, and after 10 days, we're able to, under state law, cut their lawn, and then it actually goes on their taxes, and they have to pay it on their taxes. So.
Yeah, so that abatement process is typically used. A 10-day notice abatement is applied to vacant lots, vacant properties where there's nobody to appear on behalf of the property. Sometimes we have owners that, they need help. They can't physically do it. They have no family to do it. We do try to work with everybody as best as possible. The last thing, I want to do is, stick a $600 bill on, a retired elderly individual's home taxes. But with that in mind, we do offer lists of our vendors that we utilize to call. They can help out and provide their services. But at the most point, when it's an occupied home, we do have to issue a citation, appear in court. That could take 60 days if nobody appears for the property. If they do appear, it's up to the judge on how long they want to give them to do it.
Nick, how many current properties do you maintain in the city of Hammond right now?
I believe the last count, we had over 500 vacant cut and clean properties. Yeah.
And
That's
500 out of
thousands
about
dollars.
25,000 total
Mhm.
properties in the city.
Yep.
Wow.
It's a lot of properties that we end up cutting.
And it's not cheaper for them, by the way. It's way cheaper to hire somebody and do it on your own. Hi, ma'am. Hi.
Mayor,
Yes, ma'am.
I am really disgusted.
I'm
I've
sorry.
lived in Hammond 92 years, 66 in Hessville.
Mhm.
I have a neighbor that refuses to cut their grass. Their grass is 2 feet high. I've called 6 weeks for the code enforcement to do something. He says all he can do is leave a card on the house. Now, is there no fines or no forcing?
Can I ask you a question? Are we aware of that address so we don't say it?
I don't have it
What-
at the top of mind.
I have it written down.
Okay.
What's the street? Could you show it to 164th? Is that the one, ma'am?
Yeah, the inspector should have posted a green tag warning. At that point, they would have had 10 days to comply. If they did not comply within those 10 days, a citation
Nick, could you
should
find
have
out
been
tomorrow?
issued.
Nick,
Okay.
could you find out tomorrow?
Yep, I'll take care of it.
I think,
I'll take care of it.
yeah.
In Gary.
I'll take care of it, ma'am. Personally, I'll go by.
Sorry.
I'll go by the property myself, okay? I got you.
What's that? Yeah. Sorry, ma'am.
How can a stop sign be requested? A resident is requesting a stop sign to be added at Northcott and River Drive. People and kids ride their bikes and cars drive fast over the bridge.
The process to get a stop sign requested usually begins with your council person, being honest. Sometimes you can go through the Board of Public Works and Safety and go that way. So, could you say the address again? I was still absorbing the punch in the face when you read off the next question, so.
7800 block of Northcott Avenue.
7800 block of Northcott. Okay, we'll go ahead and, once you forward that to my office, we'll take a look at it, so.
Is there an ordinance for garbage lids? Many residents have missing garbage lids. What can be done?
there an ordinance for garbage lids?
Yep, that's us. We can take care of that as well. They would, garbage cans are required to have an appropriate lid to prevent the accumulation of water, rodents, insects. So I think Felix, there is a repair program that the first time around, they will come out and repair the lid for you. If it's 2 or more, they would have to purchase a new can. Yep. Yeah, you would have to report it to our office, so we could, or Public Works. Either one of us would be able to take care of that.
Okay, thank you.
No problem.
All right, first off, I want to congratulate you on your reelection, you and Mr. Rakos. I don't want to turn this into a political rally. But the garbage can lid I put down too as that question. And a lot of it is the residents are removing the lids on purpose because they don't want to have to unlock their gates. They've got them chained so they can just toss it over the fence into the can.
Yeah.
So, even
We
if
gotta
you
have lids.
repair them, it's not going to be long before
Yeah.
they take them off again anyway.
At that point, we'd provide them notice that they're required to stay on, so the next time the inspector goes through the alley, if they see them off again after they provided notice, then we can issue a citation for the violation.
Bring Felix in on that too,
Yep.
so.
Because I mean, it's not just the garbage blowing all around, but it's the rodents too.
Yes, sir.
My wife was scared to death when a possum came crawling out of the garbage can.
Yeah. I don't like them either. Trust me, I have a bad run in one of them. No, we'll take care of it. Did you put the address or the location down on the paper? All right, we'll take care of it.
Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
What can be done about Illinois license plates vehicles at Brook Forest Apartments?
What's the law say, Jeff?
So the law gives them 60 days, and we were just talking about with community policing today. I just want everybody to understand this process and how hard it is. If somebody complains about somebody having an Illinois plate, we give them a warning ticket. We then go back 60 days later to see if that car is still there. If it's there, we start investigating, trying to put that person that car comes back to in that house. It then goes to court, it gets continued a couple times, and then if they go inside and tell the judge, I'm here to care for my sick mother or my sick uncle, oftentimes it gets thrown out and we have to start the process all over again. So we were estimating that every car, Illinois car, takes about an hour to hour and a half of our work, and it takes months to settle. So I want you to know we have somebody that's their sole job is reciprocity. We also have a division that backs that person up, and it's a never-ending job. It's a cat and mouse game. I wish I had a better answer for you, but I can tell you that we are always checking and always doing our job. That's all I can tell you.
I agree, Jeff. I appreciate your answer. Whoever the mayor is, 10 years from now, 20 years from now, 30 years from now, and they're doing Mayor's Night Out, they're going to be getting asked this question. As long as that disparity exists between what Illinois residents pay and what Indiana residents pay, and as long as we're located where we are, right on the border, we're going to have this issue, and we're always going to be fighting it. And the police department, it's a constant challenge. We have, like Jeff said, we literally have people assigned to license plates.
That was my question too. So
hi.
the second part of it was, if you go to Harding School, when they're letting out, the majority of the license plates are Illinois.
Yes, sir.
So are they sending their kids from Illinois to be educated with our dollars, or they're just not getting the license plates?
Well, I can tell you from my perspective, I'm not principal or superintendent of schools. That's a separate matter that you could direct to Scott, and I'm not sure if sure. But I could tell you that schools is definitely one of the areas that the Hamilton Police Department work. Apartment complexes is definitely areas where Hamilton police officers work in reciprocity issues, sir. So you're right on what we're working also. I get that question also. And by the way, Superintendent Miller doesn't need to be here. He comes here every Mayor's Night Out, and I appreciate that. So, Scott,
Sure. When a family enrolls in Hammond schools, and this is state law, it's not a Hammond procedure, they are required to provide 3 forms of identification. What we don't have as a school system is resources to follow up and make sure they're true. So if they bring us the utility bill, a new driver's license, and a cell phone bill that all have the same residence, unless we have some reason to believe they've been forged or they're fake documents, we have to accept them. And state law actually has an exception that the student has 60 days for the parents to come into the school without question, actually. I can't deny a kid access for the first 60 days. And the parents have that window to try to provide us the forms of ID. Now, when we do find out about it, and somebody tells us, hey, this family really, every day, they're really going back to Illinois, and they're using their grandma's residence for it, we absolutely do. We, actually, one of your council people, Bill Emerson, is one of our truancy officers, and he will go out and validate residencies, and we will. Typically, we don't have to go through an expulsion, but we have a process that is basically you expel a student for residency. And typically, when we confront them, they just unenroll at that point, so we don't have to follow through. But that
Scott,
happens.
can I ask you a question?
For sure.
So in a case like that, let's just say straight up, it's an Illinois resident, they're taking advantage of Indiana law, and they're going to school at Hammond High, or at Hammond Central. Is the Hammond taxpayer paying for that, or is it the Hoosier taxpayer paying for that?
The Hoosier taxpayer is paying for that. Where you guys are hit when the Indiana increased the sales tax to 7%, and it switched the tax burden primarily from local control to state control, that's where the money comes. But it comes from the state, yes.
So Hammond schools, if there's an Illinois resident, I'm not advocating for this, but if there's an Illinois resident that's going to Hammond school, state of Indiana is paying more money to a Hammond school. Is that true? I'm just asking. I'm not suggesting. I'm just wondering.
They audit our residency. It is one of the things that when they come in every other year, they will pick a random number of students and validate that we have correct residency files. If they find someone that is not there, yes, we will have to reconcile the cash actually with them. But we do a good job actually in the record keeping with that whole process. But when Hammond is open enrollment, I want to clarify this too. We are never open enrollment to Illinois students. But what ends up happening is people find a friend or a relative that has a Hammond address, and they put bills in the names. That's how people work around it.
Okay, thanks, Scott.
Yep.
Again, I appreciate superintendent of schools coming to Mayor's Night Out and taking questions from the public. He doesn't get paid extra money to do this, so it's nice to see it. Thank you. All right, question.
A resident on the 6600 block of Kennedy Avenue is upset after he paid out of pocket to have a tree cut down in front of his home, and only for a month and a half later for the city to cut the remaining trees on the entire block.
Okay. Don, Kentucky.
It was very long.
Okay, I live at 66, oh, you don't want me to tell my address. Okay, I had, 5 years ago, I called your office. You won't remember because I never talked to you. I always talked to the secretaries. They referred me to the tree department to get our trees trimmed because we had dead birds every day laying all over our sidewalks and by our house.
Can I ask you a question real quick? And then is this a tree in your front yard, or is this a tree between the sidewalk and between the sidewalk and the street?
It's next to the street. You guys planted it. But anyhow, and so I had called the street department. They couldn't, not street department, your tree department.
Yeah, parks.
They couldn't do anything because the tree wasn't dead. So I said, okay. Well, then when I called back again to talk to your office, and the secretary told me, call DNR. So I did. I called DNR and had them come out to find out why there were so many dead birds. And he told me it was the starlings killing the robins, but that all the bird poop that was all over, and it was everywhere, on the sidewalks, on the streets, everywhere. He told me it was a health hazard because I have grandchildren that come there. He said, it's a health hazard, call the mayor department. I said, yeah, that doesn't work. And he said, well, it's very, very unhealthy. You need to do something. So then I called my councilman, Scott Rakos, and he did a wonderful job. This was like 3 years ago. He got people to come trim the trees. And so for like 2 years, it was wonderful. Well, the third year it started up again. He always tells me he has no money. So I said, well, I need to get this tree cut down. Could you recommend somebody? He did. Because you only remove trees when they're dead, is what he said. So I paid $1,000 out of my retirement to get this tree. I cannot have my grandkids playing in that. So then what happens? A month and a half later, a city worker, 2 doors down, who had been trimming his tree, it was not dead, none of these trees were dead. A month and a half later, your city came and cut those down. I want to know why, because he works for Lost Marsh, his trees were cut completely down, and I could not have that. And I had DNR. I did everything I was supposed to,
ma'am, I have
unless
no
you
idea
can
about
recommend
the status.
something else I should have done.
I have no idea about the status of trees on 6600 block of Kentucky. I don't know which tree you're talking about. I don't know which city employee you're talking about. I have no idea how many trees are in the city of Hammond, but I imagine it's somewhere probably north of 250,000. And if I had to worry about every single tree in the city of Hammond, and especially the ones that aren't dead, I mean,
Okay, I want you to come in the spring, and I want you to walk from the 6700 block to the 6500 block, where all these children go to school. I want you to see all the bird poop that is on the sidewalks, all the senior citizens that walk with walkers. I want you to walk it and see how bad it stinks, that people are out there washing it down. But I don't understand why there was preferential treatment, why that man got 2 trees cut down, and I couldn't get 1.
oh, good question. I have no idea if what you're saying is true. I imagine it is. I have no idea who you're talking about. I have no idea what the tree status is on your block. So I'm not sure what you want me to do here. Sure, let's go. I will. Okay,
I have one final comment for the night.
nice.
Congratulations to Mayor and team on continued improvement to Hammond.
Thank you. You know, it's not easy to be the mayor of the city of Hammond. And one of the resources that we've always relied on in Hammond is casino gaming, okay? Casino gaming was under a major threat during my administration when they wanted to build Hard Rock right down the street from us. And I fought hard. I think if people were paying attention, I alienated people in Northwest Indiana probably for the rest of my career because of that fight. Because I knew what that meant for the city of Hammond. That if the Hard Rock Casino located off the highway, it would have a devastating impact on casino gaming in the city. So I went all in as your mayor. I did everything I could to stop that. And it happened. And now that casino is the highest grossing casino in the state of Indiana. It's kicking Hard Rock's butt into the ground. Hard Rock is like the 4th best casino boat in the state of Indiana. Its revenues are down like 40% from its highs. We use that money to do stuff across the city of Hammond, and it's down 40%. I did everything I could to stop that. Now the repercussions are happening from that boat that revenue source that we relied on is gone. It's going away. It's not getting bigger, it's getting smaller. So we all need to adapt. And this is something I'm going to be talking about with public safety. I've heard people in the police and the fire department are talking about getting 20% pay raises next year. I'm like, where the hell do you expect us to get that money? We have a shrinking asset right now, and it's my job to make sure we don't go bankrupt. And we still have to prioritize important projects and get important projects done so that we can keep on growing. And, you know, obviously we're not making everybody happy. We were compared to Gary today. I was told I was the worst mayor in the history of the, state of Indiana. But I can promise you this. Every single day I go into City Hall. Every day on Sundays I go to City Hall. Every day. I work hard for you. It's a freaking hard city to be the mayor of. People are always taking our stuff. People are always swinging at us. Nobody ever wants to help us, and I'm out there every day chipping away. And it sucks to come in here and just get hammered on and get called names. It does. It's hard. So I just, I don't want anybody to feel sorry for me, but just, I see what goes on in Washington, D.C., and I always think we have it so much better in Hammond because people are nicer, and then it makes you wonder sometimes when you just get called names. It's like, I don't know. Maybe I'm being too honest. God bless you guys. I'm going to keep on working hard. Thank you.
Mayor, can I make 2 announcements regarding a few
Sure.
events that we have happening? Next Friday, November 24th, we have our annual tree lighting ceremony in front of City Hall. We have Kids Craft from 4:30 to 5:30. We have live reindeer from 5 p.m. to 7 p.m. and our tree lighting ceremony will happen exactly at 6 o'clock. So please join us. Also, the following weekend, we have our annual holiday parade, Saturday, December 2nd at 10 a.m. It begins at Gavitt High School and runs down Indianapolis Boulevard to the Hammond Sportsplex. Thank you.